Vince McMahon is out and Jesse the Body Ventura is in. Thanks for tuning in to another special episode of Tyler Vance Rants. I'm your host Tyler Vance himself, and you're not. It's July 12th, 1985. Before I get into what happened on last week's TNT, you might be asking yourself, Tyler, what the hell happened to you? Well, the Great American Bash is what happened to me, and the injustice and indecency committed upon Baby Doll will not go unnoticed, and I myself have been too distraught at her predicament to do anything about my physical appearance, and I'm sure you understand. Anyways, with that out of the way, on last week's TNT, Les Thornton demonstrated his technical wrestling skills on an unsuspecting volunteer from the moronic masses. Bobby the Brain Heenan visited the Missing Link's home, and Vince McMahon found himself out of the job this week, like I mentioned, as Jesse the Body Ventura hosts the episode alongside Lord Awful Alfred Hayes.
I feel great because now TNT gets a touch of class.
The only thing keeping me from being in complete shambles and has had me hold on to hope is the fact that the Body is in charge of this week's TNT, and his close personal friend Prince, the pop music icon, is the first guest. I know, I couldn't believe it myself, but that is actually Prince, who idolizes the Body, and despite having one of the most hectic schedules in all of music right now, has come out to prove all of Jesse Ventura's critics and naysayers wrong, as well as put on a very special performance for us later in the episode. That almost makes up for Prince allowing the American Delusion Dusty Rhodes to use Purple Rain as his entrance music for Starrcade 84.
The Body has delivered!
The Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, is the next guest, and not only is he a top-class manager, but he is an excellent musician as well, and agrees with Prince's assessment that The Body Rules is 1985's top hit. It might as well be the top hit of the entire decade at this point. Unlike idiotic managers such as Arnold Scotland or Captain Loser Albano, Jimmy Hart does not rest on his laurels and instead chooses to have a proactive stance when it comes to managing his clients, often getting involved in their matches by providing advice and even calling out the flagrant, biased officiating rampant in not only the WWF, but the NWA as well. WWF Intercontinental Champion Greg the Hammer Valentine is one such client, and he's shown to be in action against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in singles competition next. As the match is joined in progress, Steamboat is seen struggling on the floor.
Imagine a dragon out there having to listen to that idiot.
And every time he tries to get back inside the squared circle, he is refused by Valentine, until the dragon is able to fight his way back inside the ring and hit such a vicious chop that it knocks the Hammer down. Ricky Steamboat then makes his way to the top rope and hits a flying crossbody, but Greg Valentine has enough ring savvy to get his foot on the rope, breaking the count before the WWF Intercontinental Champion employs a back suplex. From there, we're brought back to the TNT studio, where WWF Intercontinental Champion Greg the Hammer Valentine has joined the interview.
Where's Vince McMahon? Who cares?
While Jesse the Body Ventura once more bemoans the fact that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and his illegal MMA-style moves are somehow allowed within a WWF ring.
That has nothing to do with professional wrestling.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat needs to be fined, and he needs to be suspended for his flagrant cheating. Lord Awful Alfred Hayes attempts to provide his useless input.
I'd like to say something at this juncture.
We don't have time for you, Alfred Hayes, right now.
Before the next guest comes out for TNT, the former host, Vince McMahon. It really must pain McMahon to see that Jesse the Body Ventura is doing a much better job than he could ever hope to at hosting TNT, before McMahon goes on to suggest that
you are attempting to pull the wool over the eyes of Americana. I think perhaps this Prince is a hoax.
A what?
I can't believe that Vince McMahon's jealousy of Jesse Ventura is so extreme that he'd call the Body's integrity into question. I mean, even Michael Jackson, the king of pop, who is another close personal friend to Ventura, asked to be a part of TNT, but Prince just happened to beat him to the punch. I mean, if Jesse the Body Ventura were so dishonest, how could he one day become the governor of Minnesota? Ventura himself gets so upset at the accusation that he kicks that piece of crap McMahon right off the show before we go to another singles match joined in progress. Jumpin' Jim Brunzell takes on Moondog Spot. Spot slams his opponent's head into the ring steps before Brunzell manages to trip the Moondog and slam his hind leg into the ring post. Back inside the squared circle, Moondog Spot scores a reverse atomic drop, which results in a near fall before both men collide. Spot is the first one to recover, but Jim Brunzell catches him with an atomic drop for a 2 count. A jump-in dropkick moments later finally gets the Killer Bee the 3. Back in the TNT studio, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell arrives for an interview before going on to state that both he and his Killer Bee partner, B. Brian Blair, intend to challenge for the WWF Tag Team Championships before Brian Blair himself arrives, interrupting Jesse the Body Ventura.
What I'd like to tell you about...
Look, don't interrupt me right now.
You run around the ring with black and yellow trunks, as well as come to TNT wearing a bedazzled jacket with a honeybee on the back, yet have the audacity to say that no one cares what Jesse Ventura thinks? Normally you should leave bees alone, but this one deserves to be squashed. Ventura is finally able to get a word in edgewise, and asks both Blair and Brunzell how they came up with the lame name, the Killer Bees, for their tag team, before B. Brian gives one of the lamest answers in response.
You know, bees stick together, and Jim and myself, we stick together.
With the Killer Geeks gone, it's time that Prince gave the performance of a lifetime on the best episode of TNT that I've ever seen.
Wait a minute, man. Get it straight, man. This guy is one of the greatest performer in the world right now. Come on. Now they've done it. What? Oh, man. Now they've done it.
Now you've done it, Mr. Ventura.
What?
This man was not Prince.
What? I'll tell you what, McMahon. You can take your show and you can shove it.
Vince McMahon, you no good lying egg-sucking dog. Of course you'd find a way to weasel your way back into hosting TNT, while the show's ratings will never be as high as they were tonight. Mark my words. Thanks for tuning in to another special episode of Tyler Vance Rants. Don't forget to hit the bell, like the video, and subscribe. And you can also follow me on social media where it is 1985 in pro wrestling all over again. That's all for now. So long. Oh, the things I do to commit to my art. I mean, if Jesse the Body Ventura were so dishonest, how could he one day become the governor of Minnesota?